Chocolate is one of the oldest and most beloved treats in human history. Its journey from the cacao tree to the chocolate bar we know today is fascinating and involves a series of intricate steps. The story of chocolate is a tale of ancient traditions, complex processes, and a global industry that generates billions of dollars each year. In this video, we'll take you through the entire journey of how chocolate is made, from its humble beginnings in the cacao tree to the delicious chocolate bars that line the shelves of stores worldwide. Chocolate's history dates back to around 1750 BC, making it one of the oldest indulgences known to humankind. It was not always the sweet treat we enjoy today, however. In ancient civilizations, particularly the Mayans and Aztecs, chocolate was consumed as a bitter, frothy drink made from cacao beans. These ancient cultures believed that cacao had special powers, using it in religious rituals and even as a form of medicine. Cacao was considered so valuable that it was often used as currency. The Mayans were particularly significant in the discovery and early use of cacao. They were lucky to live in a region that provided the perfect conditions for growing the cacao tree. The cacao tree thrives in humid tropical climates with temperatures around 25 degrees Celsius, or 77 degrees Fahrenheit, and at least 80% humidity. These conditions are found in only a few regions of the world, mainly near the equator, where the majority of the world's cacao is still grown today. Despite being a centuries-old process, the way cacao is harvested has not changed much since the time of the Mayans. Cacao trees are quite delicate and do not produce pods that simply fall to the ground. Instead, the pods must be carefully cut from the tree by hand. This is a labor-intensive process that requires skilled workers. These workers use machetes to chop the pods off the branches, being careful not to damage the tree or the surrounding pods. Once the pods are harvested, the next step is to extract the cacao beans from the pods. The beans are coated in a sticky, sweet-tasting white pulp. Workers carefully slice open the pods and remove the beans by hand. This step requires precision, as the beans must be extracted without crushing them. At this stage, if you were to look at the cacao beans, you would not recognize them as the rich brown morsels we associate with chocolate. The beans are pale and encased in sticky pulp, not yet having undergone the crucial fermentation process that gives them their signature color and flavor. After extraction, the beans are placed in special fermentation boxes, which are often lined with banana leaves. The beans are left to ferment for anywhere from 3 to 9 days. During fermentation, the beans undergo a transformation. The pulp around the beans begins to break down, and the natural sugars are converted into acids, which kill bacteria and mold. This process is vital because it also gives the cacao beans their distinctive brown color and deep flavor. Once the fermentation process is complete, the beans are spread out in the sun to dry. This drying phase serves two purposes. It removes moisture from the beans, which could cause them to mold, and it enhances the flavor of the cacao. The drying process can take several days depending on the climate, and during this time the beans develop the robust chocolate flavor we all recognize. After the beans have dried, they are shipped to factories worldwide. Here, the beans are carefully inspected by quality assurance teams to ensure they meet the necessary standards. The first step in processing the beans at the factory is roasting. Roasting is a crucial step in developing the flavor of chocolate. The beans are roasted and then in revolving cylinders where hot air is blown through them. This process can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the desired end result. Roasting not only reduces the moisture content of the beans, but it also triggers a chemical reaction known as the Maillard reaction, which involves over 300 different chemicals interacting within the cacao beans. This reaction is what gives the roasted beans their rich, complex flavor that is so characteristic of chocolate. Once roasted, the beans are cracked open, and the cacao nibs, or the edible part of the bean, are separated from the outer shell, known as the husk. This is done using a machine called the winnower, which uses vibrating screens and air fans to separate the nibs from the husks. The nibs are then ground into a thick, dark brown paste known as chocolate liquor. Despite the name, this is not alcoholic, but rather the raw, unrefined base ingredient for making chocolate. The grinding process is essential because it helps release the cocoa butter, a key ingredient in making chocolate smooth and creamy. At this point, The chocolate liquor smells strongly of alcohol, as the grinding process has released some of the volatile compounds found in the beans. This paste can be further treated depending on the type of chocolate being made. For cocoa powder, the liquor is treated with an alkaline solution, which darkens its color, smoothens its flavor, and makes the powder less likely to clump together. If the goal is to make solid chocolate, the next step is to refine the chocolate liquor. This involves removing a significant portion of the cocoa butter, leaving behind a solid material called the pressed cake, which is then processed into cocoa powder. The remaining cocoa butter is crucial for creating smooth, creamy chocolate. The cocoa butter is then mixed with the chocolate liquor to create the smooth, velvety texture we associate with high-quality chocolate. This mixture is combined with other ingredients like sugar, milk powder, and sometimes vanilla, depending on the type of chocolate being produced. For example, milk chocolate was invented in 1875 by Daniel Peter, a Swiss chocolatier, who mixed chocolate liquor with powdered milk developed by Henri Nestlé. Once the right ingredients are mixed together, the chocolate undergoes a process called tempering. Tempering is a critical step in chocolate making that involves carefully heating and cooling the chocolate to ensure the cocoa butter forms uniform crystals. This gives the chocolate its smooth texture and satisfying snap when broken. Without tempering, chocolate can be too soft or have an uneven texture. After tempering, the chocolate is ready to be poured into molds. This can be for chocolate bars, truffles, or any other chocolate product. Once poured, the molds are carefully tapped to remove air bubbles and ensure that the chocolate is perfectly smooth and free from imperfections. The final product is then wrapped in foil or paper to keep it fresh and protect it from contaminants. Packaging is an essential step, not only for preserving the chocolate, but also for branding. The chocolate industry, worth an estimated $50 billion per year, relies heavily on packaging to distinguish different types of chocolate and appeal to consumers. From the delicate harvesting of cacao to the intricate process of tempering and molding, making chocolate is a complex and meticulous journey that involves many steps. The next time you break off a piece of your favorite chocolate bar, remember that it's the result of centuries of history, craftsmanship, and science. Whether it's a simple dark chocolate or a creamy milk chocolate bar, chocolate is truly one of the most delightful treats on the planet. And with the global industry growing every year, the story of chocolate is far from over.